Tyler, are you ready?
Now I'm the king of the swingers, oh, the jungle VIP. I've reached the top and had to stop, and that's what's bothering me. I wanna be a man cub, stroll right into town, and be just like the other men. I'm tired of monkeying around. Ooh, doo-ba-doo-doo-doo-doo. I wanna be like you. Doo-ba-doo-doo-doo. Walk like you, talk like you too. You'll see it's true. Someone like me can learn to be like someone like you. Yeah, I'm ready. I have no idea if the audio was terrible or not, but
It wasn't bad. Hello and welcome to another episode of Casual Master Quest. This is episode 55. I'm your host for the episode, Nick, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host, partner, and friend, Tyler.
Oh man, he called me friend. What's cooking, good looking?
Oh, nothing. It's a very nice afternoon. I'm enjoying myself so far. How are you doing, Tyler?
You know, it's been a heck of a week just because I've been doing a lot of covering people's shifts, but honestly, a lot of things have happened, a lot of things to talk about, both in real life and in the video game world.
Right. What's been going on with your life and what's going on in Michigan, dude?
Well, as you know, Nick, this time of year, it's also known as summer. I believe today marks the second day officially of summer. I could be mistaken on that. I think it might have been yesterday.
I think so I think June 21st is some equinox, it's like some astronomical bullshit that happens and that officially marks
some that,
summer.
For hundreds of years, people have recognized as, something super scientific. Yeah, it's all bullshit, Nick. Yes.
It's all fucking the earth's flat. It's been, over the last 3 weeks, actually, it's been very weird for us. We've been bouncing up.
Tom Cruise was trying to take a nap and he just woke up hearing that.
We spent the last few weeks, it started off with 5 days sitting at like 90 degrees. And then,
I'm assuming my temperature, not your temperature.
Yeah, 90 Fahrenheit.
I'm pretty sure that's boiling for you pretty much. That's 10 degrees away from boiling.
It for like 5-6 days, it was sitting at 90, then it went down to 60, then went back up to about 80, and then now it's again sitting at 60. So it's been a little bit annoying. I don't care for the heat. I just wanted the weather to settle and be like, listen, if I'm gonna sweat and be miserable, let me sweat and be miserable. Don't give me one day of hope where it's nice and cloudy and cold, and then take that away from me and make me sweat, because it'll be sunny one day and like I'm in jeans because I thought it was gonna be cold like it was yesterday, and like the next day I'll go out in shorts but it's cold and like, well, what am I gonna do? You can't tease me like this, weather.
I totally understand. Whenever I go out to work, I am a third shifter, but at the same time, I still got to start during the daylight, which is good. This week, I delivered to two cities that some people in the region might know. One is known as Saginaw, and the other one is known as Flint. Anybody who lives outside the city, at the very least, often have what I would consider a foreign stigma that the city is viciously dangerous, especially at night.
Wait, which city are we talking about?
Both Saginaw and Flint.
Okay, both of them.
Flint was at the very least previously known as one of the most dangerous cities in all of the U.S. even.
Okay.
And Saginaw is a little bit nicer, but unfortunately, the crime rate does exist at a slightly higher rate than the other cities around it. But my point is, I get to go there during the daytime now, which is great. Most of the time. Problem is, whenever it's daytime around this time of year, I'm coming out and I'm cooking. So it doesn't matter where I go in the end. I could go to any city in Michigan and it's still going to be hot. But it's just weird because, I was like, oh, daytime in Saginaw. This place, it seems like a, post-war, nothing's wrong here and all that stuff. But then also I'm just dying and sweating on the pavement. But in order to prepare for that, because I've been having a huge issue back at the house, we don't have openable window. I don't know how you got the windows that you slide upwards.
Yeah.
I don't have that. It's weird.
Okay.
We have crank windows, the kind where you like twist a handle and it slowly
and it just opens up like a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Like
sideways.
Yeah.
You can't shove an air conditioner into those damn things.
No,
we have one window that we can open upwards. It's in the kitchen. and the window is actually so thin on the sides that you can only fit I think a 6,000 BTU air conditioner.
Okay.
That's not going to cool the whole house. That will cool the kitchen if you're lucky. And so I finally made the jump this year to get a portable air conditioner. There's a couple of problems with it. Just the whole idea, a portable air conditioner, you can put on the floor and all that stuff. But Nick, do you know how the air conditioner works?
As far as I know, with the portable air conditioner, you still need it still needs an outlet.
Right.
And so you have to run a hose through something or to somewhere.
I mean, air conditioner has two major functions. The first one is the front condenses the air, which makes it cooler. And then the other side evaporates the air, which makes the air hot. And so it does need an exhaust port of sorts to pump out all that evaporated evaporated water and hot air to send out the window preferably. I didn't know this the first year, and I decided the best way to handle this was to put an air conditioner on a TV stand, run a blanket over it, and just air condition my bedroom. But the moment I got out of that bedroom, you started hearing that classic desert theme as I walked into the living room to see, see the fucking pyramids, dude. It was bad. But hooking up a exhaust port to a crank window isn't impossible, but you still got to find a way to seal it, because my crank windows, they're about 2 feet wide and then about 4 feet tall.
Okay.
So putting a 5-inch hose to that, to an open window like that, you're gonna let a lot of hot air in. So it's like, what do? Do you plastic seal the whole thing down? Do you put plexiglass over? A lot of these kits that you put in the windows, they're not meant for actual big ass windows like that. But dealing with that, something I discovered this year, but some reason I missed it last year. I think it's because we started at the end of summer and these motherfuckers did not show up, is midges. Midges, Nick.
Well,
I've never even heard of midges until this year.
The fuck is a midge?
It is a bug. It looks like a mosquito, but the ones around here are not the biting type. But I'll come home at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'll have the light on the back of my house, and you'd think the biggest thing I'd have to worry about is moths and mosquitoes occasionally. But I will have thousands of these little midges sitting on the wall of my house, just kind of camping out there. And the moment I make any kind of airflow, aka opening my door,
just sends them flying into the air.
They'll fly in the air and they will fly on you. Like, Nick, I know you're not too fond of bugs. This would send you running, dude. It freaked me the fuck out.
Yeah, well, smaller ones usually I have no issues with, but if once they're in a swarm, then it is as if a formidable opponent has presented themselves before me.
Yeah, these things, it's not like there's nothing you can do. Unfortunately, the closest thing you can offer is it's called a carbon dioxide trap. There are some types of midges that will actually bite you because they travel for the scent of carbon dioxide, which you put off by breathing out. And so putting one of those traps out, like in say somewhere in your yard, you'll come after that instead. But there's still thousands of these fuckers sitting on the wall of the house. And so I've opted to a different approach, and that is spraying a shit ton of rubbing alcohol over the side of my house, especially over the door. Almost kills them instantly.
Right.
Problem is, though, I kill 50 today. There's still 1,000 sitting there tomorrow, but enough to get them off the door so I can rush in. I have to battle through my own fucking house every single day, dude. It's rough. And then I'll come in and the dog's like, "Hey, Dad, you want to let me outside?" I'm like, "Nope. You need to go back to bed, son." He's all excited. He's like, "I gotta go." Yes.
Yeah, no, I know how to deal with fruit flies because we'll get that sometimes. Fruit flies and drain flies.
Oh yeah.
Very similar. Really, you just get like a plastic cup, cover the top, fill it with what did we fill it with? Apple cider vinegar. Put in a couple of drops of dishwash like liquid, like dish soap. Cover the top with saran wrap, poke a hole, and then watch them fly to their death.
Somebody did tell me this as well. Most soaps will also kill just the chemicals itself, since the bugs are usually so small that just even a diluted version of it will actually kill them. So
if it doesn't kill them, or at least from the chemicals, what happens, at least with the fruit flies and the drain flies, the moment they, because they're attracted by the apple cider vinegar, and they'll go in to take a little dip, and then the soap just clings onto them and just drowns them.
So brutal. I mean, it's very effective. It's just the way you
Metal
say
as
that with
fuck.
like, you say that like with such smugness, like, and then they die.
Then they'll stop fucking annoying me.
Oh man. Also, I actually had to go out into my backyard. I guess I didn't have to, but I chose to. I went out to my backyard around 3 o'clock in the morning with my gun. I fucking went out there with my gun. Yeah, what's happening?
Yeah, what's going on?
So I get home. I'm gonna say I think it was one of the. Yeah, it was a good night. So I would have gotten home, let's say around 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. I get home and I make my my routine as soon as I get home, have a constitution check on the in the restroom, essentially. You know, I'm sitting there doing my own business, and all of a sudden I hear what sounds like a cougar fight happening about 50 feet behind me outside. Okay. Literally scares the shit out of me. Just, you know,
well, that's one way.
I was out there 5 minutes ago, and I'm trying to sit here, you know, doing my stuff, and all of a sudden I hear, and it's like, what the fuck was that? Oh, Jesus. And I'm hearing it. It just keeps happening out there. And I'm like, I'm looking around the house. I'm like, okay, all 2 cats are here. All the dogs here. No one's dying out there that I know. Oh gosh, grandma wouldn't visit at 1 a.m. And so I'm looking for a flashlight. I can't find a flashlight. I'm looking for the baseball bat. I can't find a baseball bat. But there is my 9mm sitting right there, ready to be popped open and just cocked back. And I'm like, my first thing was like, Amanda, do you know where a flashlight or the baseball bat is? She does not respond. She just like, she was passed the fuck out. And I'm like, Amanda, if you don't answer me, I'm going to have to grab the gun. Still no response. She was totally, she was either dead or TKO. I know she's well alive. So I go out there with my goddamn gun and I'm hearing this horrific noise. And I'm realizing that I have a side yard that's about the size of your, think of your classic kids soccer field. It's a very large lot. It's about, I guess for you, about 15 meters across at the very least. Okay. And then there's a tree line. Well, this noise has proceeded over to the tree line. And so I'm walking towards this thing. It's pitch black out and I got nothing but my light from my phone and my gun in my hand. And the noise stops as soon as I get within like 20 feet. And all of a sudden I just hear a single noise. I'm like, you know what? You could fucking have it. I don't care. Enjoy your stay, sir. Here's the key to the suite. I was not gonna fuck myself, you know, get myself fucked over, but whatever the hell is out here. There are coyotes out here. There are bobcats out here. They usually not as prevalent up down here, but they do exist. And I don't know. For all I know, Nick, it could have been a bunch of possums just, you know, going at a mating season, and they're very vocal about it. Or it could have been a coyote killing something out there, and because I kept hearing growling and hiss, well, not hissing, like squeaks and clicking noises, and it was just freaking the fuck out. I have no idea. I tried YouTubing, what the fuck was this noise? And then I ended up watching a video of a coyote who tried to mate and it got his dick stuck. So I decided to put the gun away at that point. It's like, okay, there's nothing that's gonna, you know, give me answers nor give me any sense. My dog, the dog wants to go out. Fuck that. Just piss on the carpet at that point. I ain't going out there a second time. When you feel the fight and flight in the middle of the dark at 2 o'clock in the morning, even with a gun in your hand, you don't know what the fuck is about to come at you.
No, this is not a movie. And all I can think about right now is when you told that story. I think I showed it to you maybe a week or 2 ago when we covered the Bungie stuff. And it's like, all I can imagine is, you know, it was a comic strip with, hey, honey, you're home early. It's like, moon's haunted. What? And he put a gun. No, sorry, backyard's haunted. Backyard's haunted. Pull out your gun, load it up. It's like, what? Backyard's haunted. And you just walk out.
It was not a fight that was worth me trying to get involved with nature specifically. Let's say hypothetically it was a pack of coyotes and it was eating a fucking deer, or, you know, it caught and was slowly killing it. That's Mother Nature. Just don't leave the carcass on my lawn. Keep it in the tree line. I mean, you know, is that really something I should be trying to do? Should I be like, get off my lawn, you dirty canines? Like, no, this is fucking nature out here. I live out, you know, in the boonies, essentially. You know, it's expected.
Did you go back out in the daylight and check to see if you could see anything?
I definitely did, and I did not see a damn thing.
Okay.
So honestly,
maybe it was just a hot and heavy fuck session, you know?
Yeah, maybe the possums out here just took the banjo down to a low key and decided to
Friday night, some hookers, some blow. We're just gonna get lit.
Hooker possums, great, cool. Nick, what's your week been like, dude?
I'm gonna say same old because I'm really getting to the thick of things with school. We are about halfway through the semester. I'm starting to get ready for my trip to Florida. I am going to be at GuardianCon. In case I didn't actually mention that on the show, did I officially state that I will be at GuardianCon this year?
I mean, I feel like it's presumed at this point.
I guess, yeah, I feel like I know we've talked about it. I've told you extensively, like my plans and my trip. But okay, fine. Officially for the show, in case it wasn't obvious, I will be at GuardianCon July 5th and 6th. I will be in Orlando.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
so
it's fucking Florida, one of the very few states I have not gone to, and I'm okay with not going to.
Especially in the middle of July. No, not middle of July, but right in the middle of summer. Fortunately, the resort that I'm going to be staying at, where the convention is being held, because last year it was in Tampa Bay, and we'll talk a little bit more about GuardianCon, but the resort that it's being held at this time, everything's there. There's I don't have to leave. So I'd walk from my hotel room to the conference room to like where the thing's going to be held. And then the restaurants are indoors. Everything's going to be indoors. So except for if I do visit Disney or do any of the, those touristy activities at the end of after the conference, I'm going to be very comfortable, much more comfortable than last year. Because last year I stayed at a hostel, which was like $28 a night. So it was a good fucking deal because I was there for 5 nights, but there was no AC.
Oof.
In the middle of summer.
Oof.
In Florida.
I say the sun is hot, the bath salts are heavy.
Okay,
no.
Let me rephrase. There was an air conditioning unit in the dorm, in that hostel dorm, but about 3 of the 5 nights or 4 of the 5 nights that I was there was broken.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Jeez.
But yeah. So I'm just slowly starting to get ready for that, trying to get like all my schoolwork in order, so I do as much as I can beforehand, so that I don't have to do anything while I'm there. And when I come back, I do the least amount of work possible for at least the next few days while I just get used to being back. I told you this, and I told a few other people, but I did get I have an interview. So this the day after this episode comes out, I should be in, like, I'll have an interview the next day, for an internship position at a marketing position at a company, at a startup.
Congratulations, that's awesome, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I didn't say anything about it on socials. I really don't want to talk about it. Just in the off chance, not like I don't want to talk about it or talk about the company. I just want to
make sure things are confirmed, and even then, maybe you should hold off anyways, just in case, because I mean, it's okay to be excited, but things can happen.
Yeah, and like also just as a way to like help like temper my own expectations, in case I don't get it, and then I won't be as disappointed, because these things work out. Like, things happen, whether it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I just move on to the next thing and keep applying for more.
I don't know who told me this. It might have been my dad, but I feel like it was somebody that, well, I'd like to think my father knew his shit, but he told me, this person, that you should wait until like at least the first week on the job before you start posting about it.
Right.
Some along like the reasons of, you might be excited because you got the job, you might be happy and all that stuff, but what happens if you get there and you realize it's just complete shithole experience, and you realize, right, I'm not going to be here for more than a few days. After a week, at least you have a rough idea whether or not you'll stay, or if you're happy with the work conditions, right, and all that. A very early phase of the honeymoon period with your new employment, but still.
Right. The one thing I will say though, it is an 8-month position, which means it'll put off my graduation till 2021, which I'm fine with. It's just at least I'll get my break from school. And internships, which I kind of knew was common knowledge, but like a lot of the people that I know through like Twitch or through the gaming community, or like some of your friends, like just in people I've mentioned in general, that I've got an interview coming up for an internship, and they're like, "Oh, good luck, dude. Like I hope it goes well, but be prepared to like, just you fucking put your head down and just grit through it." And I'm like, yeah, dude, like it's exciting, it's gonna be awesome, I'm gonna be paid at least minimum. We're like, wait, you're getting paid? And it's just a little shocking to see some people's reactions. Though I knew it was kind of common knowledge, like in the States, unpaid internships are commonplace, whereas here in Canada, at least school-based internships, it's called work integrated learning, is properly regulated nationwide. And you have like if there's a program between a university or a post-secondary institution and an employer, they have to get paid at least minimum wage in whatever province that the company's in. So yeah, no, I'm just thankful that the school's afforded me this opportunity. I mean, I do pay them a fuck ton of money a year, so it's yeah.
So fun fact randomly for you.
Yeah.
Canada has a population of about 37 million.
Yep.
The population of one of our states, California, is 39.5 million.
Yep.
It's so weird. Just the you're saying everybody in Canada would get this kind of treatment. It's like, man, how many people get that treatment? And it's like, wow, we got one state that's actually more heavily populated than the entire country. Oh man, but still,
and in general, that's fair to also like talk about. Like Canada does have a smaller population, and so when populations grow, things get harder and harder to scale up, with such as social programs and so on. So I can definitely understand the difficulties with that, but I still think, especially with the way like job markets are these days, going into internships and not even getting any kind of compensation is shitty, especially because they'll give you the grunt work.
True, that is absolutely true. And also some people like to point up the whole fun thing of like, oh, if you get an internship with Google or something like that, they pay you $50 an hour. And it's like, well, yeah, Google is an extreme example, and of course they want to look good in that kind of field. Of course they want to pay their interns something like that. And
they have fuck you money. There's fuck you money, which is kind of like you have so much money you can do whatever you want. But Google has fuck you money, meaning they can do even more so whatever they want. It was like, oh, a project fails, it's no sweat. That's just like my second's profit gone.
And plus, I'm sure they're going to make these interns do the kind of grunt work that would cost them like somebody fucking $150 an hour. Something amazing, just for the experience and all that. They still make money off you. Yeah. Very well, in fact.
But yeah, that's really it. I'm just getting ready for GuardianCon because I do fly out in 2 weeks. I actually fly out July 4th, and I'm not excited for that. I'm flying out from Seattle. So I will have to leave. I'm not taking any chances, Tyler. I'm leaving my house early in the morning. I'm just gonna go sit and wait at my cousin's house and just wait. My flight's at 9:30 at night, July 4th. I'm leaving at 9 a.m. I'll be there by 3, which is, I think, hopeful because I don't know what to expect at the border. And then I'm gonna have my cousin drop me off at the airport by 6. Give myself 3 hours to get through TSA.
It would be amazing if just perfect timing as you take off, the fireworks show over at Seattle started or something like that.
That would be lovely. Yeah.
See the fireworks blast off, the landscape of Mount Baker off in the distance.
That would be something else. I'm really happy I got a direct flight this year. I had a connection. I basically had one stop going and coming from Florida last year, and that was one of the most stressful things in my life I've ever had to deal with when it comes to traveling. On my way back, my flight out of Florida to, I think I was stopping over at Chicago, was delayed by 2 hours, which reduced my my layover time in Chicago to 15 minutes. And when I was in the plane and I asked them, or when I was at the check-in, like when I was boarding the flight from Florida to Chicago, I'm like, okay, listen, I'm only gonna have 15 minutes. What happens if I miss it? They're like, oh, don't worry, honey, you're fine. You'll make it. I ran, Tyler. I had to run. I was a minute away from them closing off the gate to the fucking flight from Chicago to Vancouver, and then I would have sat there otherwise in Chicago, and then it would have been sad.
Yes, it would have. They should have said, you'll make it if you try. If you believe in yourself, Simba.
But anyways, that's that. And then, as I like to remind everybody, we are a video game podcast.
Yeah, holy shit. Yeah, that's right.
And
I don't have anything to represent video games on me at all, unfortunately.
no, not at all. And I'm gonna go first, just because you did mention that you wanted to spin some yarns, which I'm more than happy to sit and listen to, as is the case, and we'd be bored otherwise.
Hell yeah.
So, except for Destiny, I finally started playing the N.Sane Trilogy, the Crash Bandicoot remastered N.Sane Trilogy.
Nice.
I never actually played the first Crash Bandicoot game. I'd only ever played the second and the third, and then Crash Bash and Crash Team Racing. So I started playing the first, and I'm kind of like, I'm gonna get to this eventually, but I really want to jump right into the second one because, you know, nostalgia. Because this was my first game on my PlayStation 1. It's the first game my parents bought me when I was 4, and started playing through it. And I can't believe how I can't believe how, like, and I know this game came out a little while ago now, and I'm only just getting to it, but I just can't believe how much it looks like how it used to look like. Or the fact that it just is essentially is just upscale. They didn't do anything different except for the graphics and the music. They just made the game again, and it just made me very happy and just made me remember of all the times that I'd play that game over and over and over again. And it also made me realize that either they made the game harder, or I was a god gamer and became worse as I've grown up. Because I've died and I've raged so many times last night.
You probably forgot all the hours that you spent as a kid trying to get good at that stuff, and eventually you hit that like super prime zone where it's like, I'm good at this and I'm just gonna burn through it for the rest of the game. And that was you 8.
That's very likely. Like the kind of platforming and the kind of challenges and jumps that they presented to kids to play on for these games, or that I was presented with, and the fact that I was able to do it then and I'm struggling to just get into a groove now. I mean, that's the whole point of it too, is just I'm struggling getting a groove. It's just a little bit of practice getting used to, but it just boggles my mind that I was able to do that seamlessly back then.
Right. Fun fact, I never actually touched any of the Crash Bandicoot trilogy games.
I would recommend the N.Sane Trilogy then, because
I didn't buy it because it's not my area of nostalgia, unfortunately.
That's fair. Yeah. Who was I talking to when I mentioned Crash Team Racing? Somebody said Sonic, like the Sonic racing games. And I'm like, never touched a Sonic game, never played a Sonic game. I have no relevance. So like, I have no connection to this. So I can understand that. And then I picked up Crash Team Racing. It just came out this weekend.
Yeah, it did.
And holy shit, the same thing. And what's amazing is they've remastered it again. They've just updated graphics. They've just updated the sound, like reorchestrated.
They did a lot more than that. You gotta give them some credit.
Well, I was gonna get to that. So and then what they've done is they've given you 2 modes. You've got a classic mode and a nitrous mode. So in the classic mode, it's you just pick a character, and then you just race as them throughout start to finish, play the campaign as it used to be. And they've added a few UI things to make it easier for you to know exactly when to boost, to show you the power slide meter and stuff. And then the nitrous mode, they give you customizability. You can swap out characters. I think you can add aesthetic stickers, skins. There's a whole bunch of things that go into it, and I think it's a little bit harder. I haven't really looked into it too much yet. I just dove right into the classic campaign,
which I did too. I did get a look at it as well. Holy smokes, they added new characters to it, which threw me off. Characters that I'm assuming is part of the Crash Bandicoot, games, but I've never seen before.
Right.
Like Crunch. Crunch looks kind of like a less beefier form of Tiny Tiger. Maybe he has some kind of connection to him. They also introduced the new karts, because before it was always one thing, go-karts, essentially. And there was one person that had like a spaceship, and that was the final boss of the game.
Oxide, yeah.
Yes, Nitrous Oxide, I believe he called himself. Which
I guess I just know that for sure his name's Oxide.
So not only do they got new characters, they got new go-karts, they also have new skins.
Yeah.
Which you can unlock these skins by completing activities in the campaign. Or they introduced a currency system. They have a shop in the game that strictly, from what I can tell anyways, you can only earn the coins by playing. And they have a shop that's rotating out almost Splatoon 2 style, where like every so many hours, it might be once a day. Like when I checked it for the first time I played, it's like 4 hours left before we give you all new stuff. This stuff is common. This stuff is rare. This stuff is legendary. And it's like, oh boy, okay. And you win between 20 and 40 coins every time you win a race. And there are some stuff out there I saw that was worth like 2,000 coins, 3,600 coins.
It goes up. Eugene he got the game yesterday. He just beat the campaign.
Jesus Christ.
And now he's going to 100% it, but he just beat Oxide.
Yeah.
So now he's going to working on 100%ing the game, which is his goal because he flies out on the 2nd of July and he wants to 100% before he does because he's not taking his PS4 with him.
Now, 100%ing, are we talking about like all the races and time trials and stuff, or does that include all the skins?
Not all the skins, all the challenges.
Okay,
time trials,
yeah, that's masochistic.
I mean,
at that point.
You might be able to get all the skins because the amount you get per win starts to increase as you go to the higher levels, the other zones.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to have to win 100 races just to get a single skin. I'm like,
I don't know how much they go up to, but I know they go higher. And it feels good. It feels really good. And as I was playing, even with the N.Sane trilogy, as I was playing, there were so many things that were slowly just coming back to me. It was like, oh, I remember how to do this, or I remember looking out for these things. So when you to boost, you power slide into a turn, or you can just power slide, and then you have to hit another button at the right time for you to get the boost, and you can do that up to 3 times on a single slide. And so the visual cue in the remasters are either you have a meter that shows you when to do it, or you look out for the wheels that spin up and burn up. They just glow at the right time. And then as we were doing, I'm like, something about this is familiar, but it's not the wheels. I know we didn't have that. I can't remember if we had the power bar. And then I realized it's the smoke from the exhaust.
Yes, I think it turns from like white to black for the second that you tap it. Yep.
And I'm like, I remember doing because I remember being pretty fucking good at Crash Team Racing. Obviously, I played on my own. I didn't really ever play with anybody else, but I remember being pretty decent at just getting the turns down and getting the boost right. And when I was playing for the first like 20 minutes, I'm like, why can't I boost? Why can't I figure this out? And then I saw a tip somewhere. I'm like, oh, power slide, hit the other button. I tried that. I'm like, wait, this feels familiar. And then I figured out how to change it properly. And before you know it, after like 20 minutes of practicing on the first track, I was zip slapping all over the place, dude. It's so much fun.
The only thing that threw me off with this new version of the game was back in the PlayStation version, you press R1 to jump, while holding the direction you want to slide, and then you can adjust how sharp or loose you hang that slide by pressing towards it against it, and then you tap L1 at the right time to get the boost. However, every time I do that, I hit R1 to slide, and let's say I wanted to slide towards the left, so I hold left, jump to do that, but then I'll hit right, that way I can do a wide slide. Problem is though, until I hit the ground to begin the slide, my character will move even mid-air for some reason to the direction. So when I hit the opposite way to do a wide slide, he'll instead start sliding in the way I, against what I wanted, and it throws me out. And so I got to, get the timing right to where I got to patiently wait until he hits the ground, unlike before, where I felt like I was able to do it almost instantly.
Right.
But I'm starting to get used to it and getting the hang of it. And I've only gotten about an hour and a half into it. So
it's about the same. Yeah.
And honestly, I'm going to play it as soon as we're done with this. So, I mean,
I beat the first 4 tracks. Plays first already. So I've unlocked the first boss, Ripperoo. So I'm gonna dive into that. And then before we get into your games, Tyler, there's one other game that I played that I put on here, and you might be wondering what that is. Have you heard of this game?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, and you're gonna have to bear with me. This is unusual, but I'm just because I need to do this, and I need to do this. Let's see if I can get it in the right position.
What the hell am I hearing?
That is Blip Blop, Tyler. You gotta blip the blops, like That's it. And I've just been playing that on my downtime, like in class or just.
It
like,
sounds like
if I'm
wood in
sitting
the
somewhere.
wind chimes.
So you basically just hit the thing.
You just tap the button.
You just tap the button, and then
It's
you
a
get more
tapper
blobs.
game.
Yeah, you blip. You get more blobs, and then you can spend it on upgrading your thing to get more things, your vault capacity and auto blipper, and then but just listen to that sound. And then if you do it long enough, you'll go into frenzy mode.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's how I've been playing that.
I assume this is a free mobile game?
Yes.
Okay.
Blip Blop,
everybody.
folks. Blip Blop.
You got the review here. What the hell did I just get hit with?
All right, cool. Tyler, how? So you've talked about CTR. What else have you been playing?
I did finish and beat my first round of Cadence of Hyrule.
Nice.
After I finally got into it, I realized that the main problem, which I need to correct one day, but maybe I was just tired or what, but I had to switch it to fixed beat mode, which essentially means instead of pushing the button and beat with the music, your movement sets the beat of the music.
Okay.
And so it turns from an active battle to a I move, they move, or they do whatever they plan on doing, which gives me more time to plan out stuff. So it's essentially just putting it into easy mode. I'm not going to lie. I did appreciate it. It was fun. It was actually a lot shorter than I was expecting. But I guess the people's arguments was because there's so much more replayability because every area and dungeon is going to be different. It's going to be a fresh playthrough every single time I get into it. The bosses actually were difficult, and that was in fixed beat mode, so I can only imagine what it would have been like if I were to play it in the regular mode. The story was there was a cool moment where you get a sneak peek of the King of Evil himself when he was just a prince, because apparently he's not actually evil just yet, or he's not evil at all. I have no idea how that works out, but then
we're talking about Ganon, right?
Ganondorf specifically.
Okay, just clarifying.
Ganondorf, King of Evil, we get to meet him as a prince essentially, and it was just weird. If just like, oh, all I do today, nowadays is practice the piano, but one day I want to see the world, kind of shit. It's like, okay, I get it. I get the hint. Ha ha ha. This is a bad guy right here. And I had a really weird moment because once you get to the final area, it's like, hey, if you want to, you can now switch to any of the other characters if you'd like. I'm like, I've never touched any of the other characters for the entire game. I always played Zelda. You can play as either Zelda, Link, or the character that is the person whose name I don't know because I never really bothered to check. Is the heroine of
because to you it's a spin-off.
It's
It's a pin-off Legend of Zelda game, and it's giving you the option to play as Link or Zelda in the third person. So why would you pick the third person? At least to you, that's what I assume it's like.
I'm gonna say, sorry to say, I mean, there are other people who really would appreciate it, but for me, it's as Nick says, it's a Zelda game. So I beat that and I got that out of the way. I did play CTR a little bit, had some fun. I got a lot more to enjoy out of it this weekend. But there's been one big game that I say big very loosely at this point, game that I've been playing throughout the week, trying to get into it. A lot of things have happened since I last spoke about Grand Theft Auto 5, the roleplay server.
Before you continue about GTA, in Cadence of Hyrule, the other protagonist, her name is Cadence.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Okay, fine. Thank you, Nick.
Because I was just curious too, and I'm like, oh, okay.
That makes the title actually a little bit more entertaining, and it's like, oh, it's Cadence of Hyrule, even though she's not from Hyrule, but Cadence is temple or song.
Yeah, a cadence is a modulation or inflection of the voice, so it makes sense for a beat-based game. All right, so Tyler, GTA.
Grand Theft Auto 5 roleplay server, the server that Nick suggested to me, and the only server I've played since I started this whole idea, is known as Havoc RP.
Yes.
So last we talked, I was trying to become a police officer. I believe that was the case once I last spoke on the podcast.
Yeah, I think so. I think you mentioned that you were trying to I think you mentioned one of the stories that led up to you being a cop. Yeah.
Sometime that night or something like that, I think after the podcast, I said I was going to meet up with somebody who was going to train me to become an officer. That person proceeded to show up as Bob the Alien. I went to the main parking lot in the center of town, and sure as shit, there was a person in an alien suit that was driving a moped. He clocked eyes on me. I realized what was about to happen, and I decided just to walk straight and keep going. I was waiting for a police officer. I was not about to role play with the goddamn alien. And so what does he do? He starts to follow me at half a mile an hour, just creeps behind me. And I'm trying to say out loud, oh, this is a hallucination. You're not real. You're not real. He's like, no, I'm not real. Do you have a car? I'm like, yeah, I have a car. Just take the damn thing. Yeah, I got things to do. I'm waiting for somebody. Yes, this is a nice car. And he starts beating with the baseball bat. I'm like, right role play, dude. I'm like, where the fuck is this police officer? And I'm like, you know what? You can have the damn thing. There you go. Have a good day. And then I checked Discord to see where the hell this guy is. Turns out the cop that was supposed to pick me up to train me was Bob the Alien. He apparently decided that he was, gonna hop accounts or characters or what do you want to call it and just fucking just go at it. And he was like, hey, by the way, I'm too tired to actually train you. So I just figured I'd give you some fun. So he proceeded to kidnap me and convinced me, or my character rather, that he was invisible. And his vehicle, which was a space car, no less, with, Space Invader sound effects and all that stuff.
Specifically, a space car is what he called it.
Yes.
Okay.
And he said no one else could also see the car. And so he was convincing me as we drove around, and I had to explain to everybody, hey, I know this looks weird. I'm in a Wonder Woman, mobile situation. You just can't see anything. I'm in trouble. I'm kidnapped by alien. Please save me. And then he would just fucking take off. He'd go in front of the cops, and the cops are like, what the fuck? And it's like, I know, I'm invisible and I'm sitting in the air. I'm in trouble. Please save me. And he takes off again. It's like, okay, cool. And eventually he decides Bob the Alien, needs to be put to rest for a minute. And he switches over to what I realized later was actually the police officer. He was the police officer wearing a costume, in real life, if you want to call it that. And then he proceeds to take him back to the parking lot, and he's like, have a nice day. And the person that plays the top sheriff of the place I'm trying to get into, he shows up on an alternative character. I realized that, and he's like, what the hell? I'm like, that motherfucker's an alien. He's been trying to fucking probe my shit. And so him and I just start booking it, and Bob the Alien's human character is chasing after us. I start going into full-on solid snake mode. He can't find me, but I'm trapped in the back lot of this parking lot here. And this other cop character who's on an alt is like, I'll distract him, you run. And so he distracts him. I was like, well, that's the way I gotta run. There's no distracting here unless he's gonna blatantly see me. So the fucking guy this alien motherfucker starts walking towards me, and I'm hiding behind a brick wall. And so I do the only survival instinct I know best, Nick. I started making caws like a crow. I'm going,
yes, because as a fellow adventurer has once told me, if you need me, sing whistle like the crow flies, and I'll be there. I'm like, all right then.
Oh shit. And so I escaped that situation. That was my weekend. I realized I was not going to get any cop training. I was kind of upset. And so I spent the weekend instead maxing out my Dodge Charger. I got this sweet ride. I was very happy with it. It took a lot of time to finally get it off the ground, but it's there. We're good. I'm happy. Monday comes along, and I proceed to sit outside the police station with a guitar in the game and started singing about how much I wanted to be a cop. I decided, somebody's got to train me if they actually hired me, right? And so this worked, actually. I got the attention of quite a few people just, singing about how badly it is I wish to be a police officer, but no one's here to train me. And so I get my training after doing that.
Like, oh, fine, we'll fucking train you. Shut the fuck up.
I think I got to that level, dude. So they trained me. It was a bit realistic, but then it kind of turned eccentric really quickly because I'm pretty sure we played taser tag or something like that after a while.
All right, listen here, bud. You can't tell the sheriff, but sometimes after a shift, we like to come out here, pull out our tasers, and just have a little fun.
And shit, after that, man, I got to be a probationary deputy, which is
Nice.
one step closer to becoming, an official officer of the law. I'm not quite there just yet, but I'm one step closer. I'm going to have to do in real life, because I've done a lot of studying of, cops and training and shit. I have actually learned quite a bit. Normally it's like a 7-week process, during this phase, but in reality, I'm probably just going to do like 3-4 days of doing ride-alongs with officers higher ranking than me, preferably FTOs, which are field training officers. But if I were the guest, the server probably doesn't have too many of them, so we'll see. So this happens. I'm happy. I got a max judge charger. I finally got to become a deputy, and things started happening, Nick. Things started fucking happening. The big problem typically was I couldn't get on in the afternoon because it was so popular and populated that it was 32 out of 32 people with like 6 people in the queue. You just couldn't get on at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It stank, but it's like, what can I do? There was a World 2 that opened up, and I'm like, okay, I guess I won't role play. I'll just dive for gold in the meantime, just, get my grind on just for a little bit. It turns out, if I heard this correctly, that one of the developer staff members, because when I say developing, it sounds like I'm talking about a teenager hitting puberty.
No,
which is
okay.
also,
FBI,
it's also
stand
possibly
down,
true.
sir. Mr. FBI agent, stand down. We're just talking about a video game. Don't call off the attack. No, it's okay. We're all good here. Continue, Tyler.
You say FBI, that means me. So
Yeah, no, I know. That's why, like, just it's like stand down. We're good. Don't knock on that door.
one of the developers decided that he was going to not only leave the staff, he apparently had anticipated some kind of issue with the server, and he launched his own a competitive server, I guess, if you will. And it drew a lot of the audience that was playing Havoc, and a lot of people left Havoc, and suddenly, being 32 full with 6 people in queue, Havoc lost his popularity within 48 hours, and suddenly there's an average between 0 and 5 out of 32 at peak hours, and then it's completely dead for the rest of the day. That freaked me the fuck out. Suddenly, there was a time where I got on where it should have been peak hours, and I was standing inside inside the sheriff's office. I'm not allowed to drive the car with my rank. I got to do the ride-alongs. Problem is, though, there's no cops at all. There was none.
To pull out a car.
Yeah, I can pull out the car, but the only thing I can do is wash the damn thing. I could actually drive if I wanted to, but for the sake of my rank, I couldn't. And so I stood there, and like somebody told me this before, like if you don't have an officer on but you want to be on duty, you can sit at the desk and greet and talk with anybody and all that stuff, and take notes down. But since it was 1 out of 32 people, aka me, I just stood there for an hour, and it's like,
it's my time now, bitches.
Yeah, I'd like to think that, but I'm standing out like I was practicing radio codes and stuff, and it's like, this isn't fun. Why would I roleplay as the only cop or person on the server at the time?
Right. And
so a day after that, I realized that happened. A big announcement got hit in the Discord, and I would say a small scale pandemonium ensued. The person in charge of the server had announced that they were going to do a full clean wipe of everything on the server. They were going to remove all the characters. They're going to remove all the money. They're going to remove all the cars that got bought. Anything that somebody owned or whatnot was going to get wiped clean. It was going to be a full on reset. The reason for this, the claim was they're going to input like new advanced scripts and all that stuff, new different types of jobs, new different ways to make money. They were afraid that people were only coming on just to make money and buy cars. They were not there to role play, which is the main point of the server. And so their main argument is if you got a problem with this, then you are the problem because all you wanted was fast cars. Meanwhile, Tyler over here, who is, probationary Doug Hunter, 9 Bravo 27 over here, just got his max charger after working on it for 2 weeks, despite only being on the server for like 5-6 weeks at this point. He's worked a lot for that damn car, and he's not going to make it by making money as an officer if he just gets everything taken away. He could, but it's going to take probably like 2-3 months just based off of that. And so when I hear this, I'm upset. But then I see the reactions of people that have been on for 2 years, have been like, slowly grind for money and getting all this stuff. Their reaction was both understandably horrifying and, comical at some point, because the staff members were merciless on the idea. It's like, we don't care if you have 20 million. You've spent too much time just making money that you forgot to actually play the game. And it's like, Okay, that's fair. And they announced stuff like if you're on the police if you're in any of the offices, you get to keep your rank and all that stuff. You'll be put back in and all that. They haven't full on said what they're going to do for anything. Honestly, they are like, it was pretty much one of those Nintendo things. Like, we got stuff for you, and you're going to be so excited, but details will be coming out later. And it's like, cool. So they made a wild announcement yesterday, actually. I didn't think I was going to be able to attend because it was like, it said at 9 o'clock at night. I'm like, I'm going to be at work. That's not my problem at that point. I can't do anything. But that's 9 o'clock in Europe, Nick.
Yeah.
That meant like 3 in the afternoon for me. So I jumped right in. I was a little late. And people that recognized me on the server, despite being a newbie, they fucking recognized me. And the person that runs the server hasn't met me yet. And so he's like, 2 times Tyler, Doug Hunter, did you have anything to say? Nick, as it turns out, since most people are like, late teenagers, early 20s, people are trying to play this, they don't have the best mic. They don't, a lot of them are Europeans, so they're not used to hearing a American with a fancy setup talk. And so the moment I said stuff, it started turning into like, ooh, look at this guy. Wow. And some guy was like, holy shit, I swear I've heard you in a Hentai Haven thing before. And the person in charge of the police was like, yep, this guy is totally going to be our dispatcher. And I'm like, all right, I guess I'm going to have to give up the Solid Snake voice style. I'm just going to have to talk, all myself, I guess.
Well, and also you can invest. It's an opportunity to invest in some, maybe not necessarily money, but find like a modulation software to give yourself that radio voice. Yeah,
that is true. I was actually thinking about that. So I voiced my concerns about it. The fact that they haven't revealed any information. There was 45 people in this call, Nick, and not one of them was on the server. Like, it was a dead server and a full group of people who are listening to the future of Havoc RP. I told them flat out, I didn't like the idea that I was going to be losing my max dodge charger after most of my free time that I wasn't able to RP with people. I spent doing that instead. But I also told them I realized that at this point, I'm going to be driving a Dodge Charger in an empty city. I was going to be an officer for an empty city. It was going to be a ghost town where I laid the law. But the law was going to be laid and enforced to no one. So I didn't see what the point was at this point to continue playing. And I told him if he does plan on doing this wipe and he has big plans, he better do it soon, because if it keeps going on where it's 0 out of 32 or 1 or 2 out of 32, this isn't going to be a server anymore. This is going to be a little 4-player Minecraft map for people to shoot guns at each other.
Right.
So we got that going on. He doesn't have an announced date or a release date, I guess you could say, for the reset. So we'll see what happens. My future as a probationary deputy, remains to be seen. I'll hopefully try to find, maybe super later tonight, find somebody who will do a ride along. But honestly, I'm not counting on it. Like right before this, I checked, there's 2 out of 32 people playing right now, when it would have been, 2 worlds up at that point with how full it was. It sucks, Nick.
Might I suggest another server?
Are you seriously going to have me abandon the server that you recommended me in the first place?
Well, I did say specifically that it is a good starting server because the roleplay quality is not that great, and even the code's not that great. And it's a good place to get your feet wet. But also, there are a lot of servers where when you apply for whitelist, it does ask what past RP experience you have, and maybe other servers and what you did and how long. So it's not like any of this time would go to waste. So you could essentially look out for a server, some of the more popular servers, or maybe like a growing one, that are trying to compete with servers like NoPixel. And then they'll often open up applications for, official government, staff, what EMS, cops, and stuff. But a lot of that does require you to actually play in those servers. So I don't know, if things do continue going sideways, and if it is going to end up being a dead server, it might not be a bad idea to start looking for a new server to spend your time in.
I think I made a decision in my head, right now. For those who are listening, it's the 24th of June, but right now for us, it's the 22nd of June. I'm going to wait 2 weeks.
Fair.
2 weeks. If they don't do the wipe by then and there's no recovery, I'm just gonna call it. It's like one of those. I I think these people have seen some shit back in the day. I want to give them a chance. I don't want to jump ship immediately just because I'm new. I want, after the reset happens, I will give them one last week and see if they recover by, hopefully participating, being a part of it. And if it doesn't work, then, whatever. I'll actually maybe do something productive with my life and then pretend I'm a police officer. But hopefully they recover. So we'll see what happens over on GTA.
We shall see.
RP.
But that is games for the week.
Yep, I'm done. See you next week.
And so it is that annual time for me to shill about GuardianCon, and I'm gonna do it even more specifically today because when you're listening to this, it is Monday, the 24th of June. The charity stream started on the 16th of June, concluded on the 23rd of June, with Dr. Lupo closing out the week-long charity marathon. And I just wanted to talk about, really just in general, sure, we might be talking about GuardianCon, but also like video game communities that have done some amazing things. I have a research paper this semester, Tyler, and originally I was going to write about video game charities. And the whole point of our research paper, at least, is to find an issue and talk about it and be persuasive. And when I was going through all the research and all the material that I could find in relation to video game charities, there was not a lot. There was no issue that I was fighting. Like there was not like an issue would be an issue would be, are cell phones destroying attention spans? That's a very clear, specific issue. Right. I can't, on the paper, I just can't put down video game charities, and that in and of itself is not an issue. The issue maybe might be people being skeptical or cynical of where the money is going, but you don't really see a lot of that because a lot of these, the routes through which the money goes through have been vetted and verified, and that they're going to the right people. So that nobody's really raising issues around there. So I'm abandoning that topic, but it did bring some interesting things to light. For example, Games Done Quick has been going on since I think 2010, and in that time they've raised almost $20 million since 2010.
Wow, that's that's a lot of money, especially out of the kind-heartedness of most of the gamers.
Right. And my original stance when I was talking about this paper, it turned into a discussion paper, was that there are certain negative connotations when it comes to video games in general. I think a lot of that has died down over let's say the last decade. It's not been as bad, I think. And over the last decade, even academically, and my prof confirmed this, and I found that through my research, in universities, there have been a lot of studies where they look at video games and using it as a tool, as a platform for education, for engaging communities, for interacting. So even there, the stigma on an academic level has died down. And so again, me and my paper was looking less and less like I could actually do it, like it was an issue. But I did learn some things that and my prof is an older guy. He's in his 60s. He's an older English guy teaching a writing course, but he's very progressive in the sense that he's very aware and in touch with all the current, like with the world as it is right now. And so when he was telling me about, like I've done studies with video games and using them as teaching tools, because he's taught English in Eastern Asian countries to people who don't speak English. He's like, I've used certain kinds of games to help teach English. And I'm like, all right, cool. So like a lot of this exists. So there's really no issue. So I'll just be talking about how good gaming can be. And GuardianCon is my reference point. It is my inspiration for a lot of this. And I'm kind of losing my train of thought of where I was going with this. I just want to highlight there's Games Done Quick, there's GuardianCon, there's Extra Life that have people doing streams for them. There's one Level Up, I think, St. Jude's Play Live. All of these amazing foundations, charities doing things to help raise money for for a variety of reasons. GuardianCon specifically aimed with St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, where they fly in kids and families from all parts of the world. They take care of the cost of treatment, accommodation, food. They put out their research and their developments and their advancements in whatever medicine out for free, so that everybody can use it, and they don't want anybody to have to profit off of the research and breakthroughs that they make. Tyler, do you have anything to add in general?
Well, I'm looking at it right now. GuardianCon is going to be coming out July 5th and 6th, aka the time that you're going to be flying down there. The goal for this year is 3 million, which I'm pretty sure they blew out of the water last year.
Last year they hit 2.8 million, which as we're right now, Saturday the 22nd of June, they're sitting at 2.7, and last year their total was 2.8, and they still have a day left with some of the heavy hitters closing out.
So I feel like they're doing a damn good job. 2 weeks ago we were talking about how the World Health Organization was talking about how video game is a mental illness or something along those lines at this point, video game obsession rather. And so just the fact that we're using that, that unhealthy, obsession to help people around the world. I think this is fucking sweet, man. I'm glad that I'm able to help donate to this each year.
Yeah, and I was gonna take like bits and pieces from like kind of the news to like kind of prove my point, or like to bring up points when I'm trying to persuade people about it. But a lot of it is by far, again, it involved in just discussion on how much the community has involved, which is not the point of the paper. So I have to scrap it. But then, when you think about, when I talk about negative connotations, I think about maybe an older generation that doesn't understand this and why we would spend so much time and how could we possibly make it a living. And now that's different. And I think that's drastically changed in like 3 or 4 years, where content creation, it has existed for a long time. But I think with the popularity and the celebrity status of people like Ninja, it's become a little bit more normalized. And now, the age at which people start questioning gaming as a career has increased. Right, so now it's maybe somebody in their 50s be like, oh, okay, you play games, so you're like Ninja. Is a common interaction you could expect. It's just so the one thing I was going to bring up in my paper was to talk about the the unfortunate Jacksonville shooting last year at the Madden NFL tournament, and how at a sports video game tournament people were so quick to blame video games for causing violence in a person when people are even more, emotionally responsive when just merely watching the Super Bowl. I feel like fans are a little bit more violent when they're watching games like actual sports games live than actual gamers just sitting at a stadium and just watching their people just click a few buttons and play their game, their favorite game. And so it's shit like that pisses me off, which is what I wanted to write about in my paper. But coming back to GuardianCon, they announced some heavy hitters, Tyler. Have you heard about any of the people that are working with this year?
Maybe I don't. Hit me.
So this was confirmed along with the Borderlands event a couple of months ago, but Borderlands 3 will be, 2K will be there and they'll have a presence, and Borderlands 3 will be playable. So we kind of knew about that. This year, because it started off as a Destiny-based game, like a convention. It started as a Destiny community convention the first year. The second year they partnered with St. Jude's, and then they still focused around Destiny. The year after that, then they started to kind of break away as Destiny 2 came out and failed miserably, at least compared to Destiny 1. So then they brought in people from Digital Extremes, Warframe, they partnered. And so this year, they partnered with a bunch of indie devs that they're going to have their products, their games playable at GuardianCon. Rare is going to be at GuardianCon hosting a Sea of Thieves arena tournament exclusive to GuardianCon.
Oh no, Nick is gonna.
I'm not going to take part, but I'm just.
The salty sergeant returns.
They're going to do. They have a Warframe community event called TennoCon.
You're not going to do the Sea of Thieves, man?
I'm not going to do the Sea of Thieves, no.
The salty sergeant, you get 3 more guys. You could get on the SS Get Good.
SS Get Good. No, I'm not going to do the Sea of Thieves. I'd rather leave it to a few more, to some of the more sweatier, saltier pirates, which there are plenty of.
I'm pretty sure if you get any sweatier, Nick, you die of dehydration.
They're going to be doing the people. So Rare Drop is the company that handles GuardianCon, that take care of GuardianCon. They're the stream team that made up GuardianCon. They've been working with people at Digital Extreme, and so they're bringing the TennoCon, which is the Warframe community convention, bringing the TennoCon keynote to GuardianCon, which I think is pretty cool as well because they're working hand in hand with them. Bungie is going to be there doing a very special live PvP event as well. So I believe they said you line up, you play a game. If you win, you get a little coin, and either you can keep the coin or you can wager that coin to get more coins or lose it if you lose.
But I want to keep the coin. Oh no, man.
Well, you can line up again and not wager the coin and get another coin. So you can keep lining up as many times to get as many coins, and you can wager as many as you want. That's what I understood, the gist of it.
Oh, man. Damn, I don't think I could handle that kind of stress.
Oh, I'm about to get ready to sweat my dick off at GuardianCon Place of Destiny. They're going to have a 24/7 arcade open throughout the entire convention, a 24/7 PC free play area. There's like 15 restaurants at the resort. It's called Rose and Shingle Creek. They've got a desk for Disney. So like when you check in, you can go to the Disney desk and you can go and buy passes for any of the resort because it's just like a walk to the resorts. There's going to be a bunch of vendors. There's going to be a nightly adult only event. There's going to be an adult pool. It's going to be a good time. And to see them grow, to see these people, you know, one of them who used to speedrun Borderlands, the other one who used to steal diapers because he was so poor and he had to somehow like provide for his family. So he had to like steal diapers. To see them now running one of the biggest like charity conference, conventions, arguably in the world, where for now the 4th year they've raised, and they're gonna shatter 3 million. I just don't know by how much. Is a testament to how engaging the gaming community has become.
Oh shit, man! You got so much to look forward to.
I know I went on a little bit of a rant there, but this is part of, honestly, this is part of what inspires me. Seeing people do things like this, it's like I want to be able to help people, and these people are helping people by doing the things that they enjoy doing, but they make sure that they do it in a way where it's productive and beneficial, and they're just not kind of like wasting their time. I'm not going to say playing games is a waste of your time, but sometimes there is a point at which I think most people can agree on where you're just sitting there and not doing anything productive ever. There's a difference between a week-long gaming binge and a year-long gaming binge.
I don't know where you're going with this, Nick, because I'm starting to heavy sweat at that. But
no, I'm just trying to say in general, like we've all had those phases in our life though, where video games, and I can relate. I'm sure, I would hope that you could relate, where like really for a good portion of maybe a year, gaming was really taken away and made me procrastinate with my studies. It's just taken away from maybe just the quality of life in general. And then I started changing things and looking at ways where I can use it to do something productive and put myself on a routine where I can still game as much as I need to, but I can still get all my shit done.
Nick, I've never, ever let a video game ever get in front of my studies a day in my life. Okay, yeah, no, I totally understand. That is fair.
And so to see them like, listen, this is especially content creators, it's the only thing that we can do right now. This is the only thing that's making me money, but I still want to take it, even though I'm barely making anything, I still want to do more for other people, right? And to see the community give so selflessly. So I just watched Real Crafty and TSM Vis do a 4-hour block where they raised $100,000. And Vis was very much emotional at the end at the end of the block on his own stream, because he was a small story of how he started streaming 4 years ago and never imagined ever making an impact on anybody's life to this extent, where in 4 hours they could raise $100,000. Bungie came out and did a block this year, and they did $400,000 this year. And no matter what you might say about their games, Bungie's treated their employees well, and they try to do their best they can to put out a game that everybody could like, and also to, treat their workers humanely. And they've made several charitable donations to good organizations over their long history. And just seeing seeing a platform for all of these different individuals and companies to shine is heartwarming. Yeah.
I would like to say, with some reservations, because I'm sure there's other companies, that Bungie's probably one of the most developing companies I could easily celebrate. Like, I honestly, like, I don't know how to word that better. I feel like, you know, whenever you think of a certain video game company, you're like, oh yeah, they did this, but oh god, they did that and that. It's like, I feel like Bungie is probably one of the ones that you can just easily the most celebrate. I'm sure they goofed up now and then with, you know, some of their updates and whatnot, but they've made some bold changes, and quite frankly, I think they did it for the benefit of both their team and for the players.
Right. There's an issue right now with a weapon in the game that is completely broken, and it's causing a lot of people a lot of stress. And they put out an update about it. They're like, all right, listen, because they talked about it during their blog as well. Like, look, we understand, and we weren't expecting this to happen with this weapon. And we're having a hard, we're struggling right now with the decision, either because they have an update in the pipeline for July. Like, either we let that update deploy and put out a fix for this weapon a little later, or we pull that update from the pipeline and we patch it, but that'll mean we'll have to put some crunch time on our developers, on our employees, and we really want to avoid that. And so that's the main reason why we're not going to do it, and we're going to work on it as part of our normal workflow.
It'd be funny if there was some kind of like honor bound system amongst Destiny 2 players, like, we shall not use that gun, and anybody else that uses it, like, they get like shamed for it or some shit like that.
No, we're toxic as fuck. We'll use whatever we have to win. We use the most broken shit to win.
No, that's fair. I can see that.
I mean, like even especially in the competitive playlist, you'll do whatever you need to win because the points matter there.
I was not expecting that out of you, Nick. Like, we are people of honor. We will fight fairly. No, well, I mean, if this thing accidentally
I personally don't use it.
No, sir.
I've used it maybe 1 or 2 matches because I just find sniping too fun. But if it ever came down to a team, it's called the Lord of Wolves, the gun, by the way. It's a shotgun that has the range of a sniper in certain situations. If it ever came down to it where I went up against a full stack using that weapon, obviously I'd be a little bit more compelled to run it myself, because it's like going to a gunfight with a piece of paper. You can't do anything. You kind of have to, like, well, I guess I'll have to bring my own gun, kind of thing. Yeah. So bottom line to my whole 10-minute rant or whatever there was.
10 minutes, right?
Sure. Yeah. I'm trying to make myself feel better.
No, it's okay. I'll edit like a half of that out, so it's 10 minutes for you.
Thanks, Tyler. Always got my back. There's a lot of awesome things out there that a lot of these communities are doing. And don't donate if you need that money. Like, even if that $10 is critical for you to get through the month, I'm never gonna suggest, or none of these people are ever gonna ask you to donate that money. But if you do have money that you can donate, consider it. Find a cause that seems important to you. And I think it is important to. I think it's also healthy to be skeptical of things, because you want to make sure that you know where the money is going to. But I can assure you that St. Jude's is very much. It's a reputable place for you to give a donation to. So yeah, just consider it. GuardianCon.co. Think about what they're doing. And thank you for listening to my rant. Tyler, you're looking very pretty today.
Thank you. I got a new hairstyle.
Yeah.
I just realized some reason I know this is not I shouldn't be just showing up. I got random money just sitting on the table, and I know that's lame to say, but I've honestly actually donated money twice this week alone, just because I got a little extra money to spare doesn't mean that I'm against the idea of finding ways to, give it to other people. Some ways are lame. A lame way would be I canceled a subscription on Twitch to somebody that I don't care to watch anymore. It's just I realized they're not my style, even though I celebrated them originally. People change. And so I tried being charitable by giving you a tier 2 subscription instead. Whoops. Another way that I was able to donate was apparently my company was doing some kind of fundraiser, I believe for the American Heart Association.
Okay.
And it was at this one store. Basically, it's one of those you can donate whatever you want, and then you put your name on one of these little hearts, and they put it on the window. Well, every time I go, to the store, it's at 1:00 in the morning, so they're always closed. I can't give them money. So this time around, yesterday night, I decided to stop there, grab one, put my name on it, and then left a $10 bill for them to, hopefully process it out. And then, of course, I really do believe that, the combination of both Bungie and, more importantly, the people that love Destiny 2 and now more with GuardianCon, they are probably one of the most valid causes I've seen for video games, besides video games done quick. And so, I'm more than happy to donate to something like that. Also, I always forget to put cash into my bank account, so it just sits there. Please don't rob me.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's donation. If you can, do it. If you can't, that's fine. Just lurking in chat, watching some of these streams, sharing it, talking to people about it. Though I talk to my family about it, even though they don't understand what Twitch is, for the most part. If you find a charity that you think is a better fit for you personally, and you want to work with them, by all means, go and make it happen. We are people. We all need help. And as Deej, one of the community managers now in a higher position, I can't remember exactly, at Bungie, said just before their block started, remember to be excellent to each other, because that's all we have. Just all of us on this world. All right, enough of the mushy stuff. Time to get emotionally upset on a different scale.
Hey, great! This is an area of expertise I can totally understand.
Tyler, how do you feel about this?
We should talk about what it is first before we start to go into our touchy-feely emotional moments here.
All right, so Tyler, do you want? Because I've been talking for so long. Do you want to open up with this? Do you want to tell us a little bit about what's going on here?
Absolutely. So, people have been very excited, especially after E3. Nintendo showed even more footage about Pokemon Shield and Sword. Everybody's happy, cool. More Pokemon stuff. We've been eating it up. It's coming out this year. However, there is one very minor detail that people have been getting very upset over. As Masuda pointed out, the person in charge of Pokemon Sword and Shield, we knew at some point we weren't going to be able to indefinitely keep supporting all the Pokemon. He said this at an interview to US Gamer E3. Thank you, US Gamer, for this. And then thank you to the article of VG247. We just found out Sword and Shield would probably be a good point to go back and reevaluate what would be the best selection of Pokemon that appealed to the widest audience while keeping into consideration the balance of the battle system. The problem that people are raising that he is addressing, if you want to call it a problem rather than just a decision with a lot of backfire, is they are not going to support the national Pokedex in this game for Pokemon Sword and Shield. They're going to retain and just refer to what is known as a regional dex, which means any Pokemon that you catch in the game is going to be the only Pokemon you'll have access to. Any other outside Pokemon from different games you will not be able to use for battle mechanics. There's over 800 Pokemon. I'm pretty sure now pushing it close to 1,000 at this rate, depending on how many they introduce. But you're only going to be able to access so many in this game. So,
right.
For people that have living dexes, I'm so sorry, Nick.
Well, I mean, specifically talking about the living dex, it's not in... I didn't think of it as an issue because I have no problem just finding out what the national dex numbers are and then organizing them accordingly in Pokemon Home. That didn't seem like such a big issue for me in terms of collecting them all. And as I guess what people are upset about is the fact that they can't bring the Pokemon they want whenever they want, whichever Pokemon they want. And they made this change visually, at least in Sun and Moon, if anybody either didn't realize or doesn't remember, where in prior games up until X and Y, in X and Y, which is Generation 6, up until then, you could, when you beat the game, your Pokedex would get upgraded, right? And then it would go from the regional dex to include, and you can choose between the regional and the national dex, and it would have all the Pokemon in the correct order and like the full list, and you could complete it accordingly. Whereas with Sun and Moon, that wasn't the case. The Pokedex would only stay in regional dex form. And so I don't know if that was a foreshadowing or a precursor to the kind of things that they wanted to change, but that didn't stop you and Sun and Moon from bringing in Pokemon from other generations. They say it's for balance. They say it's to because there's too many Pokemon. They had to choose. There's not enough time. They didn't want to worsen the work conditions for the developers, which I can respect. I particularly don't know how to feel about this because I'm not a video game developer. I certainly do not use every single Pokemon. So even if my favorite Pokemon didn't make it into it, I start the game off all the new games using only regional Pokemon, new region Pokemon. That's a hard and fast rule I've always followed.
Right.
Also, I don't see what's stopping Nintendo from putting out patches that adds in the regional Pokedex in chunks.
Well, I guess my first big question, which is more rhetorical than not, is what is our closest access to the resources of 3D models of Pokemon? It would probably be Pokemon Sun and Moon, wouldn't it? The only exception would be Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, which only has like the first 150 and all that.
I think X and Y also, upscale to full-on 3D models.
I guess my point is, I don't know what those 3D models looked like before they scaled it for the 3DS, but if they were to use that for the Switch, I feel like that'd probably look horrific. Now, how much time would it take for them to make 3D models and animations and all that for each of those Pokemon? You know, mostly from scratch, not really, because they obviously got their own reference points. Probably a long time. I mean, doing I would say almost 500 of those would probably take a lot of time.
As far as I know, Game Freak themselves don't make the 3D models. The 3D models have been outsourced to a different company called Creature Inc., at least according to Let's Go.
Really? I didn't know
Yeah.
that. That's actually an interesting fact.
Now, at least according to Let's Go, it's mentioned in the credits that Creature Inc. had done the Pokemon 3D models.
Now, I'm wondering if they're trying to save... I mean... Oh no, they said the reason here, for battle system and mechanics and all that stuff. Maybe they're afraid that there's a new mechanic in the system that's just going to get broken because of the use of certain Pokemon, or that they just don't want to account for every single thing that they add to the battle system.
What if that's... And I'm just trying to think of all, like, I'm not as upset as I've seen a lot of people upset over the last week and a half. And I've been following, I believe his name is Joe Merrick on Twitter, who is the creator and curator for Cerebi.net. And he's been, in my opinion, a voice of reason. And since he's clearly stated that he's not happy with the decision, but he's going to wait and give it time and see what happens, because they've done it before where they've patched things into the game post-launch. And people have called him out for being a shill and that he's being paid by Pokemon because he's not as upset as they are. And so I'm like, you really can't win with the internet some days when he's just trying to be reasonable, because like all of us, we're all just excited for the game regardless because of the kinds of environments that we can traverse.
So, fighting on Twitter and on Facebook, it's like debating something with a drunk anonymous person. It's just, you could do it if you want. Just know that you're going to be just as much of a shitlord as whatever goon has their opinion set in stone in front of you. I think I just get annoyed when people are doing the opposite. Like, if you have feelings about the national Dex not being in the game, then you're just a problem. You need to go away. You need to rethink your life. It's like, okay, sure. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
and you're not... Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, like, it's fine to have opinions about things. But, like, especially, like, there's no need to attack each other over it. Sure, you might not be happy, but I think approaching, especially with video games, and let's talk specifically about video games, and this has been the conversation between that streamers have tried to push when it comes to players giving feedback to Bungie. They're like, listen, if you're in the developers' mentions 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, calling them a piece of shit for changing something or doing something a specific way, they're probably not going to listen to you. But if you were to present an argument in a logical, reasonable, calm manner and ask them a question or give them a specific piece of feedback, they're more likely to listen and respond. Which is the same thing here, I think. Just, instead of like trying to burn Game Freak down, just kind of like, listen, hey buddy, I'm not happy with this. Why'd you do this?
There's two things I noticed that there was a distinct lack of. I'm hoping you tell me otherwise. The first one is I've never seen any Mega Evolves. I feel like the focus is on the Dynamax evolving, if you want to call it that, which I think is actually a good thing. Now, don't get me wrong. I do like my Mega Evolves because they look cool as shit and all that stuff. But it looks like they already have a system where they're just going to make Pokemon super big and beefy and cool looking and doing, mega attacks. So do we need it? I mean, it would be cool. That was how the last meta of the battle system worked out, is having a Mega Evolve one of your Pokemon. The other thing is, I haven't seen a Scissor yet, Nick. I'm scared.
You're getting scared. I think you'll be fine.
I think there's going to be Scissor and Sword and Shield?
I think because there seems to be a focus on Steel types, I think you'd be okay, and Steel types are already in a minority.
The nice thing is Scizor without Mega Evolving is considered the underused tier. So, people can't yell at me, saying, "Oh, you want Scizor because it's in the overused tier. It's it's meta and all that." It's like, oh, I just like Scizor.
I've seen people lose their shit over not being able to bring their Dunsparce over. So,
oh jeez.
So you're fine. I think nobody
really a Dunsparce.
Yes. In terms of Mega Evolution,
where's my Mr. Mime? Where's all the Mime boys at?
Squirtle Squad. I really enjoyed Mega Evolutions. I think as a mechanic, as a battle mechanic, because this was introduced in Generation 6, I think it was a fantastic addition to the games. It was a potential battle changer, added for some unusual move sets on certain Pokemon, because they were better move sets as the Pokemon, as a Mega Evolved version of that Pokemon. It involved for some unique strategies, though I didn't get into the competitive side of Pokemon games ever, but at least that's what I was aware of. And a lot of people did enjoy Mega Evolutions, but then came Z moves in Sun and Moon, and that kind of
Z moves turned me off almost immediately. I used them during the campaign, but I didn't mess with them. It's just
I agree. I think they were there to replace Mega Evolutions, I believe, or to phase Mega Evolutions out. And the lore that they came up with was do you remember what the lore for Mega Evolutions were?
They found a keystone that reacted with a special bracelet you found, but I don't remember. It released some kind of bond between you and your Pokemon or something like that.
Yeah, so you and your Pokemon both have this keystone or whatever, and then they have the gem that makes them evolve into a specific form, and then it the stronger your bond was, the better the Mega Evolution, or the stronger they would become, or whatever, right? Same with Ash and Ash Greninja. And then the lore in Sun and Moon for Z moves was that Z moves with a specific gem or whatever, you could channel your bond with your Pokemon into a power, because apparently Mega Evolutions hurt the Pokemon.
No, did they really say that?
Something I feel like I'm not being a liar here, or I'm not lying. I feel like I read something somewhere that said
Peter's writing down viciously. You're
Mega Evolution hurts the Pokemon, which is why we should probably use Z moves more, or at least that's what it implied in terms of it's Mega Evolutions hurt Pokemon, and then they just
does evolving a Pokemon hurt them?
I would imagine it's kind of like growing pains. You kind of have to get used to your body a little bit.
When a Charmeleon has bones spring out of its back to form wings, does it hurt?
Oh god, what the fuck is that?
Is that why Charizard's always so angry?
I mean, maybe, but I found it strange that they try to write off something innovative after 5-6 generations of core games, with Mega Evolutions, and then they introduce Z moves. Sun and Moon in general was a questionable, and including Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, all of that in itself was very questionable in terms of writing, in terms of setting, in terms of gameplay. I really did not like that we lost our gyms, and it seems we'll be going back to gyms now. We don't know if we're going to get Mega Evolutions. I'm just not saying anything until we actually play the game, because I'd rather wait than talk shit, speculate, play the game and get disappointed even more. I'd rather just wait and see what happens.
I'm just reading information. Oh man, the Pokedex, having vicious things about the Megaforms. There's Pokedex entries. It looks like for every Pokedex entry of the Megaforms, like Mega Lucario. There's one here that says it readies itself to face its enemies by focusing its mental energies. Its fighting style can be summed up with a single word: heartless. And then for this one, for Salamence, Mega Evolution fuels its brutality, and it may even turn on the trainer who raised it. It's been dubbed the Blood-Soaked Crescent.
Oof.
And the last one I'm going to read here is for Mega Aerodactyl. When it Mega evolves, it becomes more vicious than ever before. Some say that's because its excess of power is causing it pain. Just damn, dude. Oh, man. Sorry, it's just it. Like, they're probably trying to make it sound like cool and emotional and stuff, like we're gonna go Dragon Ball Z on all this shit, but at the same time it's like, we got 14-year-old kids that like, hey, cool, my Aerodactyl, it's now it's in pain now. It's like, what do? Do you give you send Mega Aerodactyl to a little happy camp up north or something like that? Do they send it upstate to the ranch? Do they
send it back into the ground?
That's one way of putting it. Jesus,
back into a fossil. How are you feeling about Sword and Shield right now?
Oh man, I'm excited at the idea that's going to be for the Nintendo Switch, but I think that's my main excitement right now. It's one of those things where I feel like it's going to be a good one to coast through versus one that I'm super excited to play. I might just be growing out of it, Nick. I mean, at this point, that's a very fair thing to say, that maybe this is, I'm finally leaving the audience that this was intended for. But at the same time, I did enjoy Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, and I'm pretty sure I played a good majority of the Pokemon games that came out in like the past 3-4 years. So honestly, even if I don't think it's the best fucking game on the planet, it's still going to be a good game, I'd like to think. But it's nothing for me to get super hyped over, I'm sorry to say.
Right. I'm just excited because it's a core Pokemon game.
Heck yeah.
It looks beautiful. I'm very despite the whole national dex thing and it hampering me being able to collect all 804 plus Pokemon in the game, I'm just excited that we're getting a new game. It's going to be on the Switch. The worlds that they're building are beautiful. If that's what it looks like, at least. It looks like there's an actual like Pokemon trainer league, because it was from some of the screenshots you can see stickers of things that look like league badges, league stickers. So and like they even show the first gym leader in a stadium. Like you fight him in a stadium, and if you watch the trailer. Yeah, the big leafy boy. And if you watch the thing as the match is starting, there's a drone that flies around that's capturing and recording live footage for whatever. And so I'm excited for the possibility of the world that they've built. There have been some reports that Nintendo was a little bit rushed. Game Freak was a little rushed to put this game out, which might explain some of the issues. Maybe that's part of why they had to cut down the Pokedex and why the trees look like the trees from fucking early 2000s. Have you seen that meme?
I didn't get a good look at it, but that's fair. They probably have Twilight Princess trees,
which is exactly what the article references that I found. They look like Twilight. I'm not even kidding.
Are you serious?
They look like Twilight Princess trees. Despite
Nintendo,
all of that,
you shouldn't be looking at the trees. You should be looking at the Pokemon. There ain't no Pokemon in trees. Pokemon right in front of you. They'll come and get you. Better watch out.
Despite all of that, we're going back to your standard battle of gym leader fucking format. None of this
Nick in the chat
bullshit. Yeah.
His argument for the benefit of Game Freak, he says it's England, so the trees are older.
I mean, for all we know, that's the birthplace of civilization, if we're being completely honest.
Birthplace of a civilization. Let's not say all of it. Maybe this is like the first Pokemon world, and we just didn't get to explore it yet.
Maybe. I would imagine if Game Freak were smart, Tyler, which I hope they are, we'd have a few dragon variants.
Ooh.
Knights, dragons, castles.
What do you mean? like dragon
when you hear-
variants.
Well, when you hear a lot dragon Pokemon, not variants necessarily, but when you hear about, like older medieval stories and fantasies with knights and dragons and castles, they all tend to be based around the UK.
Sure. Now, I guess my big question is, my favorite type of Pokemon.
Mhm.
Is there a Pokemon that is there? I think there's one type of Pokemon that I know of that is Dragon and Steel. You know what it is?
Palkia?
Yeah. What's that?
Palkia?
Palkia is Dragon and Water. What do you do?
Okay, then it's Dialga.
Dialga. The problem is that Dialga's slow as shit and all that stuff.
That's
and,
true, yeah.
Roar of Time and all that really hits good. But I haven't seen a very good Steel Dragon Pokemon in a very long time, man. I'd be more than happy to take something like that.
There aren't very many dragon Pokemon to begin with. Yeah, I mean, again, if Game Freak were smart, they'd throw in maybe one more dragon line than they normally do, meaning that you'd have 2 dragon lines. Heck, maybe 3 if they're feeling a little adventurous.
I could see that. I mean, when you think of dragon Pokemon from the last one, the 2 big ones I think of is Komodo and then Drampa. And then,
Right.
I mean, you got like Alolan Executor and all that stuff. But, those are the 2 like new ones that I think of.
Yes.
And
I think those are the only ones.
yeah, I don't think of it that many other dragon type Pokemon. So I'm hoping. I feel like they're gonna have fun with it. I think this is gonna be Year of the Dragon for Pokemon.
Year of the Dragon, Year of the Keanu. What if Keanu Reeves is in Pokemon?
I mean,
imagine, Tyler, can you fucking imagine Keanu Reeves shows up as a final boss in Pokemon?
well, I mean, they revealed I was imagining him being the champion, but it's like, okay, well, no, the champion is some hipster soccer guy. What happens if it's like, I don't know, Team Sun or something like that, like the Team Rocket equivalent, and it's led by Keanu Reeves, like the model of Keanu Reeves. Like, it just needs to face it. Like, they don't talk, I don't think. So, keep talking to the minimum. Just have Keanu Reeves as fucking the leader of Team Ye Old Rocket or something like that.
Yeah, so here's the problem. We can't do that because that would mean it would be an actual competent team for the first time that we might not be able to beat. So
Ooh, that would be scary, huh?
yeah, no, that's a no. You can't have that happen.
It's like you use a Bulbasaur and he sends out like a Hondur or something like that.
It's a level 12 battle and he sends out a
dog.
Magmortar.
Well, I was just thinking like he had a dog or something like that.
Dog. Okay, yeah.
And yeah,
Arcanine.
you shoot his dog and then he sends himself into the battlefield.
Keanu sends out Keanu. Keanu used a pencil. Super effective.
It's a one-hit KO.
Yeah, I mean, apparently the new team's called Team Yell.
Wait, did they reveal who the bad guys are?
No, this is unconfirmed rumors from a source that I saw somewhere on the interwebs that's been pretty spot on for most things so far. But it's called Team Yell, maybe?
Like YELL yell or?
Apparently. But I could be speculating and shit talking, spreading rumors for no reason now. But I mean, we'll see what happens. We've got like actual stadium battles, open world 3D environments to crawl through. I'm more than happy, at least initially, with the national dex issue because I've always built my starting teams with teams that are from the region only, and that means I've done that even in Generation 5, Tyler. Like I toughed it out. Like I made it happen. Yeah, it wasn't easy.
Poor thing.
So the last thing about this whole national dex thing that I want to mention, have you seen any of the memes with people trying to disguise Pokemon as some of the newer ones?
What do you mean disguise Pokemon?
So I think I'd have to find it. Like I'll see while I'm talking if I can find a source to share with you. But basically, the idea is because people are calling this the Dexit, in relation to Brexit, with Pokemon being cut out of it, of the national Dex, or the lack of a national Dex. And so I'm trying to see if I can find this. Hang on. But basically, you'll have people, and I've been seeing this on Reddit, where they're like, "Hey guys, don't mind my Grookie," and it will be like an Apom painted like with the colors of a Grookie. Like they're getting through a border. It's like, nothing to see here, officer. Just getting my Grookie through. Or like a Rudigon painted as a Charizard.
Oh, so basically like putting cartoon mustaches on them so they can get their Pokemon over the border.
Yeah, because we know Charizard's going to be in the games. That's been confirmed.
Yeah, we saw it with the champion. Yeah.
Yeah, so we know his line's going to be there. So people are like, yeah, don't mind my. There was one with Rayquaza's face on a Wooloo. It's like, nothing to see here. We're just me and my Wooloo just back from a trip, bro.
Let's see. Charizard Y is a fire dragon, isn't it? Wait, no, I'm sorry. Neither of them turn into the dragon. I'm getting mistaken with, I think, Gyarados. No,
Charizard X turns into Fire Dragon.
Does it really?
Yep. Charizard X turns into Fire Dragon.
Okay, just making sure. I think that's... No, they're not going to introduce Mega Evolve, so I guess that wouldn't make sense.
Most likely, we are not going to see any new Mega Evolutions. The other one that was a Dragon Mega Evolution was Sceptile.
Yeah.
Sceptile was Dragon Grass. Do you see the Rayquaza on the Wooloo?
Yeah, I did. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, Pokemon Sword and Shield. Like, I'm excited regardless. It is a Pokemon game. We talk a lot about Pokemon. We used to have Pokemon Go Minute that would go on for 20 fucking minutes. This was in the early days of Casual Master Quest. So we are Pokemon fans, and so we're just gonna wait and see until November hits. In the meanwhile, I'm gonna be playing a bunch of Crash. Tyler's gonna challenge me and lose. Not really. He's probably gonna kick my ass.
No, I'm gonna lose because I don't know how to properly drift yet. So if you take me on this weekend, you might have a chance. It's 50-50.
Time to get my win in now. Punch below the belt.
Might as well.
I'm gonna be playing a bunch of Destiny 2. I'm gonna see if I can. Tyler, do you think should I play Borderlands 3? I
was say, why are you asking me, dude?
Because I don't care for it, but I'm like, well, I'm going. Why wouldn't I play Borderlands 3?
If the wait is over 2 hours long, I would say head off, but the opportunity presents itself to you. I'd say why not? Right,
that's fair. That's what I thought too. The plan is really there's 2 people in specific that I'm gonna be going, and then they're like, listen, my friend was telling me, his name is Koma. He's like, all right, listen, I'm just really planning on spending time with my girlfriend and you. And I'm like, all right, dude, sick. And he's like, we're just going to be drinking constantly. I'm like, all right, sounds good. He's like, I got your back. I'm like, all right, sounds good. He's like, so if you swing, I swing. I'm like, listen, I'm not swinging unless somebody swung first, then I'll swing. He's like, all right, then. So that's what's happening. If we have time to play Borderlands, I'll play Borderlands.
You know, this is how World War I started, right? I'm just saying.
Well, time to start a fucking it's all right, Mr. FBI guy. We're just talking about drinking, being idiots. Don't mind me.
I was gonna say the FCI, the Federal Canadian Investigations,
called the CIC or CSIS, I think.
CISIS. That sounds too close.
CCIS. I think they're called. Canadian Central something. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Congratulations,
sorry.
You just got flagged, sir.
I'm pretty sure I've been flagged since the moment I got here, but for other reasons. But yeah, that's the show. That's episode 55. Tyler, where can people find you?
Well, I'd like to talk about the games that are going to be coming out this week in this day in gaming.
Oh, right. I completely forgot that we had to do those. Sorry.
Do you want to skip it?
No, we're not. No, I because there's something.
You spent 15 minutes on this. I know you don't want to skip this.
I'll talk about the games coming out. Tyler, do you want to talk about the games this day in gaming? Because there's some important ones for you. There's at least one important one in here for you.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Let's see it.
All right. So starting June 24th, we've got Heavy Rain, a David Cage special coming out on PC.
Which is weird because you would have thought it came out on PC already, but I guess not.
I was looking into this. Heavy Rain came out in 2013, right?
Way back then. That's I think sooner
2010.
than I even. I'm gonna say.
Jesus. Okay, well, we're getting a 9-year-old game on PC, June 24th. We've
David
got
Cage ran out of Detroit Become Human money. He's got to print them bucks.
He spent it all on his next big game, very much like Hideo Kojima. So they must be working together on something. So the next game.
Careful what you wish for there, buddy.
Bloodstained Ritual of the Night coming out June 25th on the Switch. It is what does it say here? It's a Metroidvania video game developed by Artplay and published by 505.
Yep. This
looks
is one of those super successful Kickstarter stories of people who wanted to make Castlevania games, but just didn't like the way that it was going with Konami. Capcom? Capcom, I think, makes Castlevania, right?
Yes.
Wow, that was confidence right there. Konami. Ha,
okay.
I was right the first time.
Yes.
Don't worry. It's okay.
Tyler.
Exit out. My bad.
Next, we've got Samurai Showdown coming out June 25th, PS4 and Xbox One. It is a fighting game series. Started on the SNK and arcades. And I guess we've got a remastered version out. The next, we've got The Sinking City, June 25th, PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
I've not heard of either of these games before.
Sinking City. I've not heard about Samurai Showdown. The Sinking City is an upcoming action-adventure mystery horror video game. So,
I love mystery horror adventure games.
Developer Frogwares, publisher Big Ben Interactive. So if you like,
horror game, Nick.
It's inspired by the works of horror author H.P. Lovecraft. So I don't know. Maybe you want to look into this?
I was thinking more like Luigi's Mansion 3, but sure.
I'm sorry. Don't you mean Luigi's Mansion?
I'm not playing second player, fool.
Why not?
Well, I mean, look, Luigi's always been player 2. Tonight he's player 1.
Ooh. Okay.
Ooh.
Then we've got
Luigi. Luigi. What's this? What's this?
Super Neptuna RPG coming out June 25th, PS4, Switch, and PC.
I'm sure this is a sequel to one of the many Hyper Neptunia games that have been coming out like over the years.
It seems like it.
It's like as far as I can tell, it's super anime RPG style game.
That's exactly what it looks like. Next on the list is F1 2019 June 28th, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Racing style. It's a racing game. It's a Formula One racing game. So,
wait, are you trying to give it some shade just because it's a racer game?
No, I was just trying to describe it, and I'm like, I have no idea. Like, I can't say anything else except for the fact that it's a racing game.
Formula One. Yep.
Yeah. And then Super Mario Maker 2, June 28th, Nintendo Switch. A lot of people are excited. A lot of people are a little upset because you can't play online with your friends. But Nintendo has announced that they will be adding online functionality later, which is very unusual for Nintendo.
Yeah, for fucking sure. It'd be nice if they sent it to the Mario Party. It would have been nice if they sent it a little bit more properly to the Splatoon. It would have been nice if they sent it to, there was another game. Yeah, I don't remember. Whatever. Fuck them.
Well,
tennis.
Mario Maker, June 28th, Switch. Tyler, this day in gaming. Take us through this list.
Sure. Today's date, if you're listening to this as soon as it comes out, is June 24th. Oh, Nick's also pointing out Mario Tennis Aces, but I did say tennis. That's the very end there.
Right at the end there, yeah.
June 24th, 2019. I would like to say happy birthday to the Kerbal Space Dope program, whose this version of the game came out for the PC this day in 2011. Happy 8th birthday. Happy 10-year anniversary to the fact EA announces to restructure Mythic Entertainment and BioWare into a new RPG MMO group, which is interesting.
Yeah, Mythic Entertainment made The Dark Age of Camelot. It was a MMORPG from 2001. And then they were bought up. Yeah.
And BioWare, I don't know any games that BioWare made. BioWare.
Have you never heard of Mass Effect, Tyler? Have you never heard of the Destiny killer Anthem that only has 100 concurrent viewers on Twitch on a daily basis that's shadowed by Destiny 2?
Nick, I've heard of the blue boobies, okay? You don't have to give me crap for this.
Yeah.
Same day, ZeniMax Media also bought id or ID Software.
Apparently you just call it id Software.
Yeah, I know. It's weird because
it's very weird. I just read it as ID.
Yeah, but they call it id for some reason. But every time people say in a podcast, it throws me off.
I would also like to note, because I did a little bit of digging, ZeniMax Media is just a holding company for all the other like just a whole bunch of things. And so ZeniMax, if you think that name sounds familiar, ZeniMax Online specifically make the Elder Scrolls Online.
I was thinking of ZeniMax as the company that was suing against the Oculus Rift, because there was a whole debacle that led to a lawsuit launched by ZeniMax. Either
that would make sense,
or it was either by or against them. I wonder if ZeniMax was the company that was making the Oculus before it got sold over to Facebook.
That would make sense. I think it was against. It was an argument over intellectual property, because one of the members from ZeniMax or ZeniMax Online, one of the board members of CEO, actually left to join Oculus.
So this is interesting. Yeah, it was ZeniMax versus Oculus, because they took a bunch of code, I believe, and that led to a intellectual software theft argument. So I just typed the words ZeniMax lawsuit, and a lot of things popped up apparently. A lot of ZeniMax lawsuit, Fallout 4, ZeniMax lawsuit, Facebook, ZeniMax lawsuit, Oculus. They really love sending out lawsuits. Good on them. So coming out,
a company tied to Bethesda. What did you expect?
That's fair. 2005, making this game 14 years old, coming out on the PlayStation 2 and Xbox. Happy 14th birthday to Destroy All Humans. Nick, I'm assuming you had a good connection with this game?
No, I just put it in there because I know we're getting a remaster.
Okay, fair.
I feel like that's significant. We're getting a remaster. So I'm like, all right, cool.
Thanks to Konami, and I'd like to thank Hideo Kojima, it is now the 20th birthday of Metal Gear Solid, officially. It came out this day 20 years ago for the PlayStation over in Japan. It did come out about, I think it came out in September, like September 3rd or something like that, same year of 1999 for the American audiences, but this is the day that it came out for Japan.
Nice.
And what?
No, like it's fucking 20 years. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been 20 years since Metal Gear Solid came out to the world. And on the same exact day, also out in Japan, some people might scoff, but I still want to give it some love. Ape Escape came out for the PlayStation Japan. So happy 20th birthday to Ape Escape. Man, Ape Escape was fucking good. It was so janky, but it was still fucking good. Anyways, Nick,
I've had the pleasure.
Oh, well, it's on the PlayStation 4. There's remakes, not remakes, but there's ports that you can get of it. Nick, you asked me this question earlier, but I'll let you know now. You can find me on Twitter at 2xTyler, all letters, all one word, 2xTyler. What about you, Nick?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and on Twitch at You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram at LRWarrior11. You can find the show, Casual Master Quest, on Facebook and Instagram by just searching in Casual Master Quest. You can email us at casualmasterquest@gmail.com, or you can find us on Twitter at MasterQuestPod. These are the different ways, the myriad of ways that you can contact us, harass us, yell at us, talk to us about your video games, suggest things to us, send us hate mail, send us love mail. We're gonna appreciate it no matter what, because we need just to talk to people. That's all we ask for. But beyond that, Tyler, do you have any last words to share?
Unfortunately, we did not get a good conversation going on with Mrs., since she is married now, Aviano Erman, aka the person from Portugal who now lives in Spain, who is dying of some kind of horrible disease that God cannot save her from, according to her, and she needs money. So we'll try to give her a contact to see if we can help her out next week. But no, other than that, I think that's it.
God bless Miss Aviano. I hope Mrs. Aviano. Sorry, I hope she's doing well. I hope she's not struggling too hard, because she is quite weak, even sending us her.
I wonder how the
content.
husband's doing in all of this. I'm really concerned.
She's never mentioned him at all. But why would you even assume if she has a husband, Tyler?
That's fair. No, this is 2019. She didn't say that she got married to a husband. She just changed her prefix. Well, I figured at this point, the argument was that she got married over this time, and then she announced that we're pretty much so close as family that we should help her, that she married herself to us. So
we're her husband collectively?
I guess we are the husbands of the scam.
I'm down with that.
Okay.
I can get behind that. Okay, yeah, that's
so
fair.
does that make us brother-in-laws at this point? I think we're brother-in-laws.
Or are we each other's cuckolds?
Or stepbrothers. Stepbrother cuckolds. I don't know.
Strange. Interesting. Anyways, that's Tyler. This is me, Nick. That was Casual Massacres episode 55. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you next week. And don't forget to never stop the grind.
You better step away from my Spanish sweetie, you side-ho, you.
No.
Also, Nick in the chat says that we're also technically married now. The intro to the podcast, titled Casual Master Quest, was paid for and produced by the wonderful talent Revelries Music. You can find more of their work at soundcloud.com/Revelries Music, or just click on the link in the show descriptions. The background music is the album Top 50 Best Classical Piano Music by Brilliant Classics. You can find out more about Creative Commons at www.creativecommons.org/license/by/4.0.